Good morning, plant lovers. Today I'm going to show you my mint my mint garden, which is one of the easiest herbs to grow in my opinion. So as you can see, I've gathered mint that has been growing in my garden. I've picked it up literally from the borders, and I'll show you that in a minute how it grows. And I've put it into this container that my dad made out of scrap wood, and it looks pretty good if you ask me. And it just keeps growing and growing, so I actually use this a lot. I use it a lot for particularly mint tea, which is a staple for Arabic families. And I also use mint in mojitos, and I use it in a yogurt dip called jajik as well. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that. It's yogurt, cucumber and mint. So as you can see, there's a bit of a patch here. Yesterday also it rained. It was virtually like a storm, so the soil was really waterlogged. And as you can see, there's a big patch here with no mint. There was a lot of mint there, but my neighbour asked me for a mint plant, so I literally took a whole section from my own mint garden, and I gave it to him. I potted it up and gave it to him, but that left a big gap in my garden. But what I'm going to do now is plant some mint that I've propagated into that gap, so I can fill the gap. And I'll show you in a minute how I propagate this mint, so stay tuned. So this is where I find my mint. I get it from the garden, and when I find it, I try my best to pull it out. I tug it out with the hope I can pull out the root of it, but on this occasion, unfortunately, it snapped, but it's still perfect for propagation. So what you'd do, you'd pop that in a glass of water and leave it in that glass of water for about 2 weeks. Try to get a bunch of them. So here are some cuttings I took from my garden. As you can see, I've put them in a glass, actually an Arabic tea glass. And if I bring it right up to the camera, you'll be able to see the root network on there. Can you see it's developed a really strong root network? This has been in the glass for about 2 to 3 weeks. It's just been in plain water, and I've just put it on my windowsill actually, because I was scared perhaps a cat or something would knock it over. And I mean, it's ready for planting. Okay, so I'm just going to take the propagated mint there. You can see all of the roots there, very strong. So this should go into the soil just fine. As I said to you, there was a storm yesterday, so the soil is very moist. Go right down and stick it in, and there we go. So one more tip for you: when you are cutting your mint, the best way to cut your mint is not to pluck off individual leaves. Don't do that, because you just get a really leggy plant. The best way I always advise to cut mint is to just cut a whole part from the root. So I would cut it off like that, and then that will grow up nice and bushy. When you cut, you encourage growth, so that's the way to cut your mint. Obviously my mint garden is really overused, and that's why a lot of the mint is quite small now, but this just keeps growing and growing and growing. So look after your mint garden, and it will look after you.